transformations from there. And yesterday we have seen how to get the data from on-premise and cloud, right? So we got the data from Excel and we got the data from website. And I have just walked you through Power BI UI. Though we haven't gone through all the options available, I just gave you a glimpse of Power Query Editor. And we have seen the row transformation. Today, in today's class, we will see the column transformations, and one of the common and most used transformation is promote and demote headers. And we will see split columns, and we will see some of the entry questions related to these topics. Um, one second. Yes, can anyone share your screen? Those who have Power BI in your systems, I just shared one file with you. So let us see how we can do this transformation, row transformation. We'll just revise the row transformations today, and then we'll go ahead with the column transformations. And before that, do you have any questions from the previous session? Any doubts or questions from the previous session? Okay, can anyone
No,
share your screen? Harshita, can you share your screen if you have Power BI in your system?
actually, I logged in my mobile. I
Okay,
have some issues with the laptop I'm opening.
okay, no problem. How about you, Aruna, Chaitra?
Sir, I look. And so,
Sorry, I can't hear you properly.
sir, కనిపిస్తుందా?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Can you open Power BI? I just shared one file in chat window. First, download that file.
Yes.
Then open Power BI desktop.
This one only, na, sir?
Yeah.
I downloaded this.
Now go to Power BI desktop.
Yeah.
So as I said, like once you open Power BI for first time, you will get this window, right?
Yes.
So now we need to get the data from Excel. We already know what is the data source. So right now, no need to go to get data again. We have an Excel workbook here. So click on that.
Okay.
So now you can choose
Sample.
the Excel. Click on
Sample.
open. Yes. So once you bring the data, could be any data source, Excel or CSV, PDF. If you get the data from web, first you will get this navigator where you will see the sample data and you will see all the listed tables here. So right now we have only one table. So once you select that, you will see the preview of the data. So you can see all the columns available in your data, and below that you'll have two options. One, either you can load the data directly to Power BI desktop. If you feel the data is clean, and you don't need the transformations, you can directly load this data to Power BI desktop. But my suggestion is always go for the transform data, because there might be some issues, or there might be where we need to do the transformation. So you can check the from transform data, and then you can load the data to Power BI desktop. So now click on transform data. So once you click on that, it will open the new window, which is Power Query Editor. So what we do at Power Query Editor? Can anyone answer that? What we will do at Power Query Editor?
We'll transform the data, cleaning the data.
Exactly. We clean the data. If data is not in proper structure, if we have any issues with the data, we do the cleaning. This is what we call transformations. Have you heard about ETL? ETL in the sense extract, transform, load, right? So we are extracting the data from different data sources. So right now we are extracted the data from Excel, and right now we are doing the transformations. Once we are done with the transformations, if you feel the data is good and clean, then we load the data to Power BI desktop. This is what we call the ETL. So in Power BI, this is how ETL works. If you go to some other applications, the ETL, the process is same in the sense like extracting, transforming, and loading the data, but UI might be different. Right? So right now we got the data here. And so yesterday we discussed about the row transformations. What are the transformations we have discussed yesterday? If you go to remove rows, in the reduce rows, we have a row transformations, right? It's not there. In the manage columns, reduce rows. Yeah. No, not in manage columns. Beside that, reduce rows. Yeah. If you go to keep rows, this options is for how many rows you want to keep from the data. Let's say if you are, for example, if you are a data scientist, you have a huge data of billions of data. But if you want to do any machine learning, they don't take in first instance, they don't take whole data. First, they will take sample of the data. They do the machine learning models on that. Once if they feel that data is good and everything is working fine, then they will load the whole data. The same way, when you're working in real time with Power BI, there are some cases where you don't load whole data. First, you will take sample data, you'll work with that. Then if you feel that everything is working fine, then you will load the whole data. So in that cases, you can use keep top rows. I want only top 10 rows for my report as of now. So how can you do that? When you click on keep top rows, so here you can see number of rows. Here you need to mention how many rows you need from the data from top. So let's say I want 6 rows from the top. So when I mention 6 and I click on OK, I will have top 6 rows. Remaining rows will be removed from the data. It will be there in the backend, but it will remove from the now. If you load this data to Power BI desktop, right, you will be having only 6 rows in your data. Arna, can you open that window?
Which one, sir?
I think did you close that window, or like did you minimize that? The Power Query Editor window.
This one. This
No, no,
one.
no, 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 not that one. If you go to Power BI desktop, you will see two windows. Just hover your mouse in this taskbar where you have a Power BI desktop, right? You can see other window, right? That is Power Query Editor. Yeah.
Okay.
So right now you have only top 6. Let's say by mistake you kept top 6, but it's supposed to be top 10, right? How to edit that one? You have
We
a
have
gear. No,
to.
no, no. You don't need to remove that. You have a gear icon for the upgrade step. If you click on that, you can edit that step again. You can see the small
Okay.
gear icon for that upgrade step, right? Kept first rows.
Here it is, sir.
Oh, in upgrade steps, right side in query settings, come down in the upgrade steps. Yeah,
I
come to
mean,
last step, kept first rows. Yeah, there is a
yeah.
gear icon right at end of that. Click on that,
Yes.
yes. So if you click on that, you can edit that transformation again. So now you can keep 10 and click on OK. So that will do the change. And let's say if you feel that, okay, by mistakenly I have applied this step, you can remove the steps. So for that step, we have that, yeah, click on that. That particular step, applet step will be removed. This is keep rows. So again, click on keep rows. Right now we have seen the top, how to keep the top rows. And the same way we have a keep bottom rows, keep range of rows, keep duplicates. In case there are some cases where you need to keep duplicates for the, maybe for analyzing or something. So automatically sometimes Power BI removes the duplicates. But again, if you want to keep duplicates, you can use this option. And again, errors. If you want to see the errors, what exactly it is, and if you want to rectify this in data source, in some instances, Power BI we will remove the errors. But again, if you want to keep errors, you can click on this option. So these are self-explanatory and very basic transformations that you can look into these transformations on your own. And now click on remove rows. Same way, it's just opposite to keep rows. If you want to remove top 10 rows, and if you want to keep the bottom 10 rows, and if you want to remove the alternate rows, and here most commonly used transformations are remove duplicates, remove blank rows, remove errors. These three are commonly used. So most, as I said, like data, we can't expect data to be clean, right? So there might be some errors. If you want to remove that errors, you can click on remove errors. Right now, there are no errors in the data, but in future, I'll just show you in case if we get errors, how to remove those. So when you click on remove errors, it will remove all the errors from the data. And if we have a blank rows, if you click on blank rows, it will remove all the blank rows in your data. And in case if you have a duplicate rows in your data, if you click on remove duplicates, it will remove all the duplicate rows. So hope you're clear with the row transformations, right? So do
Yes,
you
sir.
have any doubts or questions?
No.
Okay. Thanks, Aruna. Let me
Okay.
share my screen. So today we will see about the column transformations. So in yesterday, if you remember, we got the data from this particular website, right? So same way we will get the data today. So in left side, you can see all the tables available in that particular data source. It could be web data. If you go to SQL, you will see all the tables available. In real time, companies, they'll be having a n number of tables. It could be 50 tables or 60 tables. All the tables will be available here. So you can choose among those. If let's say right now I have only 10 or 20. So let's say in real time scenario, there'll be hundreds of tables. So you can't go through each and every table. So we have a search option as well. You can search. Okay. Okay, let's say we'll take one table and we will go for the transform. So right now I just loaded this table. So how to rename the table? We have a lot of ways, right? So either you can rename from here. Let's say I just want to rename this as World Cup. So right now, if you observe here, the first row is, we don't need this first row. Everywhere we have a statistics. By mistake, we got this row. So how to remove that? So if you go to remove rows, in remove top rows, we have option called remove first row. So right now we remove that first row. And another transformations, common and important transformations is promoting headers or demoting headers. Promote and demote headers. So if you look at the structured data, how it looks like, there will be proper rows and columns, right? If you see the table, any table, even if in Excel, so these are called columns. These are called rows. Or else we call this as a records. So let's say if you take the student data, like we have a roll number, name, let's say we have address and marks. So we have a each record. So roll number one, let's say X, and his address is X, 45 marks. So if you look at this data, for every column, there will be a column header. Based on that, you will understand what exactly it is. So if you look at this column will be having the roll numbers. So entire column will be having roll numbers. So this column has a header called name. So in this particular column, we will be all having all the students' names. This particular column header is address. So in this whole column, we will be having address of all the students. If this particular column having headers, for this in this column, we will be having all the marks. Without headers, you don't understand what exactly this data is. So one important thing for any table is you should have a column headers. Based on that, you will come to know what data we have in that column. That we call it as column headers. Right? If you look at this data, we don't have column headers. So these are the column headers, like column one, column two, column three. Right now, if someone and come say like what exactly we have in this column. If you look at this header, we don't understand what exactly we have. But if you look at this data, if you observe properly, the column headers are in first row. So we have a team, apps, matches, how many matches they have won, how many lost. These are the column headers. The tie, net run rate, win percent, everything. All these are column headers, right? So these column headers, they are supposed to be. So these column headers, they're supposed to be here. But in our data, the column headers are in first row. So now we have to convert the data which are in first row to column headers. This have supposed to be at column two. This match is supposed to be at column three. So how to convert this? So we have a option called use first row as headers in Power BI. So if you click on this, we have two options. Use first row as headers, use headers are first row. So when you choose this first option, use first row as headers, that will convert the first row into column headers. So when I click on this now, it will convert the first row into column headers. Now we got the proper data where this particular column has team, where you can see all the data related to the team in this column. And if you look at this apps, right now we have all the information related to apps. But still, if you look at this data, the last column, which is something not necessarily. If you look at this column, we have all the information related to teams, but the last column, we got some uh, like inconsistency data. So how to remove this one? Go to remove rows from bottom, choose one, click on OK. And how many uh, matches one? So right now we got the proper structure. So this is what we call it as promoting the data, promoting columns. Sorry. So what is promoting columns? In case if this particular columns are in first row, there are some cases where you can see this particular column headers are in third or fourth row. That you need to convert that into column headers. So the first and second row will be some blanks or some random data. So you can remove this top two rows. Then you will convert this into column headers. Okay. What is demoting rows? I'll show you one example. Okay, let's consider this. So now if you look at this data, uh, first first thing is we have a null rows in this data. How to remove those null rows? So anyone, how to remove these null rows?
We can use remove rows.
Either you can go for the remove rows. I told you one more option yesterday. Either you can go for this like remove blank rows.
Remove
That will
blank.
remove all the blank rows. But in case if if not, then we have other option. Yesterday I discussed about that.
Using delimiters.
No, no. If you hover your mouse on this particular column, we call this as column profile. We'll come back to this later. But if you hover here, so we have option called remove empty. So when you click on this remove empty, that will remove the null rows. Hmm. So if you look at this data, now everything is one record here. So all these are records, right? So the whole thing we call this as a record. So where we have a ID, name, and their location. But if you look at the column headers, even the column header is one of the records. But by mistakenly, they haven't kept the column headers. That is the reason automatically Power BI has fetched the record as a column headers. So now we have to demote this. Demote in the sense we have to send this column headers to the first row, and then we have to give the column names here. So how to do this? First, we have seen the promoting headers. Now use first row as headers. We have already seen. Now use headers as first row. So now we are converting the headers into first row. When you click on this one, you can observe carefully. This headers will convert into first row. Now you can see the headers have become first row. Now we can rename the column. How to rename the column? We have a lot of again options to rename the column. Either you can double click on this or else you can right click and we have option called rename. We have option called rename. So the simple way is just double click on that. So let me rename this column as ID and this column as name and this column as location. So now we got the proper data. So when we call this as a proper data, when you have a proper column headers and rows without null data, we call it as a proper data, right? Hope you got about the promoting and demoting headers, right? So do you have any questions, sir?
No.
No.
Great. So this is one of the common transformations we use in data because most of the time we don't expect there should be proper headers in your data. So in case if you don't have any proper headers, you need to bring this proper headers. Without that, even if you load without proper headers, right, you can't create the report properly without having headers. So that is one of the main transformations. So now let's come back to this column transformations. The first thing is remove columns. Let's say if you go here, we got some random columns here, which is column 10 and column 11. We don't need this. So how to remove the columns? So select that one, go to remove column, click on remove column. That will remove the column. So again for column 10, go to remove columns, click on remove columns, that will remove. But right now, if you observe here, we removed the columns two times. One I have selected column 11, I removed, and again I went to column 10 and I removed. So instead of if you want to remove the multiple columns, hold the control key and choose whatever the columns you need, and then click on remove columns. That will remove the columns. This is first transformations where you want to remove the columns. Either if you want to remove only one column, choose that one and go to remove columns. If not, if you want to remove the multiple columns, hold the control key and select the columns, whatever the columns you want to remove, and then click on click on remove columns. So another way to remove columns is choose those columns, right click on this, and again we'll get the same option here, remove columns. So it's up to you, which one you're comfortable, you can choose that option. So when I click on remove columns, that will give. Okay. In real time, there might be hundreds of columns, maybe 120 columns, 150 columns, and you need only the three columns from this data. I want only team, apps, and matches. I don't want other columns. So right now, apart from this, I have a lot of other columns. So what you can do, again, hold the control key, team, apps, matches. So right now I've selected these three columns. Now click on remove other columns. So it will remove other columns except these three columns. I can see it has removed all other columns. Not only these three columns, you might be needing like random columns. Let's say I want only team. Hold the control key. I want only matches. And then how many matches they have won and the win percentage. I want only these four columns. I have selected these. And then either you can go for the remove columns, remove other columns, or else right click on this. Again, we have this option, remove other columns. Now I have only these four columns, team, matches, won, and win percentage. So this is how you remove the columns. So as we see here, right, we don't need this fourth column, three columns, remove those. I don't think so. We need this column as well. Remove this. Okay, so these are the two options, either remove columns or remove other columns. Now we have two options in choose columns and go to columns. In choose columns, it's just opposite to remove columns. Here you will get all the columns listed here. Among this, you can keep whatever the columns you need in your for your report. Let's say I want only team and their win percentage. So when I click on OK, I will have only those two columns. So again, I will show you. I will remove the other step as well. I have all the columns now. Instead of removing columns, you can go to choose columns. Now you can see what are the columns you need for your data. So I don't want all the columns. I want only team. I want how many they have won, how many they lost. So when I click on OK, I will have only these three columns. It's just opposite to the remove columns. One lost. Okay, I need only these columns. Then another option is go to column. So go to column, and this is really useful transformation. This is not transformations. This is like this will save your time. Let's say, as I said, like in real time, we'll be having hundreds of column. If you want to go to the particular column, you can't all the way you can navigate to that column. You can't search and go for this particular column. Let's say right now I'm in first column teams. I want to go to with the column which is in some 80th position or 90th position. I can't all the way go to that scroll to that column. If you go to column, either you can search for that column. Let's say that column, the tie column is somewhere in 80th position, right? I don't know where it is exactly now in my data. So I can search for this. When I choose this one and click on OK, I will go to that column. So go to column. Let's say I want to go to matches. So select that one. When I click on the, it will go to the, it will highlight that particular column. So here you can do all the transformations on this particular column. So these are the column transformations. Hope you got it right. Any questions or doubts related to the column transformations?
Okay. అదే
Yeah, yeah.
యాక్చువల్లీ మీరు రిమూవ్ కాలం డిఫరెంట్ గా చేశారు కదా.
Hmm.
అప్పుడు ఇక్కడ అప్లై స్టెప్ లో ఓన్లీ వన్ టైమే వచ్చింది, సింగిల్ గా చేసినా కానీ.
Yeah, good question, and great observation as well. So here, if you apply the same transformations immediately, everything will be recorded as one transformation. I'll just show you. Now again, we have a removed other columns, right? I just removed one more column. So now I got other transformation. Let's say I just remove rows, like remove top rows, 3. So I got one more. But if you apply the same step again and again, it won't add applet steps, one more step here. That will be recorded in the same step. So how it happens in the sense backend, we have a advanced editor where we have all the inquiry, right? So first you remove 3 rows. Again, you remove 2 more rows. I'll show you. Let's say first I removed apps. Then I removed one. But now you say I got only one step, which is removed columns. But if I go to advanced editor mQuery, in the removed columns, it has kept everything at one place. Like first I removed apps, I removed one. In the next step, again, if you remove another column like lost, that will keep it in the same column itself. But if I go to any other transformations like remove top rows or top 5 rows, that is new step. It's not part of remove columns. So that will add as a new step here. So whatever the UI you see here, right? This is for our, for better understanding, to make our, work easy, life easy. They made it UI. But you're supposed to be writing the inquiry. Whatever we do the transformations, right? Everything will be recording this as an inquiry. So here you can see, right, removed columns. If I keep one more column here, that will remove the another column. Let's say if I want to remove any other column like matches. So here I can just mention and that will remove the column.
But if I want only one particular step back, then at the time,
Sorry, I didn't get you.
ఇప్పుడు మీరు రిమూవ్ లెఫ్ట్ రైట్ ఇలా తీసారు కదా, ఇన్ ద మిడిల్ వి వాంట్ ఓన్లీ పర్టికులర్ కాలం బ్యాక్ అనుకోండి. అప్పుడు
You want only particular one column in your data.
ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ రిమూవ్ కాలం మీద స్టెప్ బై స్టెప్ కొన్ని తీసేశారు కదా. కానీ నాకు ఒక పర్టికులర్ కాలం మళ్ళీ అవసరం అయినప్పుడు బ్యాక్ వెళ్ళాలి అంటే అప్పుడు ఇది క్యాన్సిల్ చేస్తే మొత్తం మళ్ళీ అన్ని అవుతాయి కదా.
Yeah, so you can't do that. So if you want, you can navigate to the other steps and you can see what happened in that step. So if you go to the promote headers, right now here you have promoted headers, right? If you go to the other step, you can see that headers are in first row. After that, you did promote headers. But if you want to remove this particular step, you can remove this, right? So let's say I don't want this promoted headers, so I can choose this one. You can delete this step. But what happens after that, whatever the steps you applied, right? Those are based on your promoted headers. So it will throw an error. So now after that, whatever the steps you have applied, you need to delete those related to that applied step, whatever. So again, now you can see the column apps of the table wasn't found because apps we kept it as a column header. Right now, it is not able to find that apps column name. So again, you need to delete this. So while applying the steps, you need to be very careful. It should be in sequential order. That is the reason I just said, let's follow. I'll end of the session. I will just tell you how to follow the sequential order. First is like whenever you get the data, you need to go for the promote headers or demote headers. That is the first transformations you need to do. Second transformations are row transformations and column transformations. Then we can go for the other transformation. And how about others? Hope you're comfortable in Telugu, right? If someone asks any questions in Telugu.
Yeah.
Uday, can you explain the go-to column transformation once again?
Okay. Let's see if you have any table which has used columns, then you will get better understanding. One more website I'll just tell you, which is kaggle.com. It is really helpful to get the data sets if you want to work on any data set on your own. So if you go to Kaggle, you will get lot of data sets. If you want to get any data sets, right, you can use this particular website, Kaggle. And not only for the data sets, this is particularly for data science or data analyst people who where you can go for the competitions, where you can see models and all the things. Just like a lead code, which we have a Kaggle for data science people and data analyst people. Okay, let's take any of the data sets here. We have a lot of real-time data sets. Even we have a data set for Zomato. This is real-time data sets. So if you are interested any of this like healthcare related to healthcare, we can search for healthcare. So you will get all the data related to the healthcare, like mental health care. So all the data sets related to healthcare, you can download this and you can use in a Power BI reports. So this is CSV file. We will see what is CSV file in next sessions. But for now, let's bring this. This has only few columns, but no problem. I'll just show you. Okay, right now here we got the data, and let's say I have around like 10 to 12 columns. And as I said, in real time, we will be having around 50 columns, hundreds of columns. Uh, so right now, I just wanted to go to one column, which is, let's say, location. This is not here. I am just, if I want to find the location column, I need to go through, I need to scroll and I need to search for that location column. Instead of that, you can go to column, this option. Either if you see that particular column name here, you can select that one and click on OK. That directly navigate to that column. Or else, if you see that we have hundreds of columns, you can search for that column like location. Select that one and click on OK. It will go to that column. Let's say I just want to go for the particular menu item where I need to do some transformations on that column. So I can search for this and click on OK. It will go to that column. Hope you got this. Who asked this question?
Yeah, I got
Oh, you got the right. Why exactly we use the go to column?
I guess.
So any other questions? How about you, Archita? Hope you are getting right what we are discussing.
Yeah, I'm getting. But how it will like? Yeah.
Sorry, Chaitra, can you repeat?
Yeah, I'm getting this.
No, someone asked some other question.
No, I just asked about. Just I need to know once again about the go to column transformation. That's it.
No problem. So that's what I was telling. Like in case if you don't understand any of the transformations or if you have any doubt, if you want me to repeat, I'm ready to repeat even 100 times.
Yeah.
But end goal is that you need to understand the transformation. If you bring in real time, right? If you bring any data, you won't be using all the transformations. Only few of the transformations, whatever the required transformations for that particular data, you will use those. But you need to have an idea all the transformations. Then only you will understand it what exactly which transformation you will be applying on that data. So practice, practice, practice. So if you do practice, then only you will have a better understanding of the transformation. So any other questions? We thought to go for the split columns, but it will take time because we have a lot of options available. So today we will go through some of the interview questions related to row transformations and column transformations. So I will ask questions. So you have to answer this question because we you might be familiar because we already gone through transformations twice, right? So first question is what are common row transformations available in Power Query Editor? So these are the interview questions you expect in real-time interviews. So they'll ask what are the common row transformations available in Power Query Editor? So can anyone answer this? What are the common row transformations? Yes, it should be an interactive. It's not like I'm teaching and you're not interact. So this is a common interview question.
Remove columns and
Exactly. Remove rows. Right? We are talking about row transformations like remove rows, keeping rows,
keeping
removing duplicates. What else? Removing
remove errors.
errors. What else we have?
Mm,
Remove null values.
Exactly. Remove empty values. Empty or none. Any other transformation?
Use first row as a header.
No, those are column headers. It won't come as a row transformation.
Okay.
About the keep rows, those things and all.
Yeah, so just contradiction to this, remove rows. We have
Okay.
other one like keep rows, keep duplicates, keep errors, keep null values. Nice. And how do you remove duplicate rows in Power Query?
by using removing duplicates or removing blank.
So yeah, exactly. But in real time, if you worked on Power BI, so you need to answer in such a way that we have a lot of ways to remove the duplicates from Power Query. Either you can go for the remove rows, remove row transformations. There we have option called remove duplicates. Or else you can right click on, we have option called remove duplicates. So first option is either you can go for the remove rows. We have option called remove duplicates, right? And how can you rename a column in Power Query?
Yeah, we have multiple options like we need to go for this.
We need to double click the particular place
Mm-hmm.
where we have to rename, or go to the properties.
Or we can
Exactly.
select right click and rename it. There are multiple
Yeah,
options.
in properties, we get option to rename the table name, not the
Yeah.
column name.
Okay.
But if you want to rename the column name, either you can double click on this,
Double click
or
the
else,
column name and rename it.
yeah, or else you can right click on this and we have option called rename. If you want to rename the table name, either you can go for this properties, or you can either double click here and or else right click on this, click on rename, or else you can go to this properties. There you can rename the table name. And how can you change the data type of column? We haven't discussed about the data types. Tomorrow we will discuss about the data types, what exactly the data types are, how many data types are available in Power BI. And split columns also, we haven't get the chance to discuss those. In tomorrow's session, we will discuss about the split columns. So one website, as I told you, right, Kaggle, it is really important if you want to get any of the data sets, real-time data sets, if you want to work. Normally, you will get only sample data sets where you will be having only few rows and few columns. But in Kaggle, you will find the data sets which has used data. So you can use that. I will bring that in chart window. You can keep this for your future reference. And for now, I will share. I just share the sample data, right? For you can use the sample data for for your practice. If not, if you don't find any sample data or something, you can click on enter data where you can enter data and you can work on the data. Yep, that's all from my end. So do you have any questions or doubts?
No.
We have query right above. It's showing table dot transform column types.
Sorry. Where is this query? I didn't get it.
Table dot transform column types above the table.
This one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
From this we can make changes as well. If you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, we can do this. That's what I said. Like this is mQuery where you can see the same thing in our advanced editor. So every step, whatever you see here, right? So everything is mQuery, but most of the time we don't use mQuery. So where you need to write manually. But in Power BI, we have all the options in UI itself, right? So for example, I want to remove top 10 rows. So I can simply go and remove top rows and I choose top 10. I will click on OK. That will remove the top 10 rows. Why I'll go for mQuery and I'll write all this line. Most of the time we don't use mQuery, but there are some cases where we go for the mQuery that we will discuss in further sessions.
Okay.
But behind the scenes, whatever the transformations you do, right, everything will be recorded in mQuery. So now you can see in the update steps, first what we did, we got the source. From where we got this, this is the source.
Yes.
So this is the path and these are the delimiters which we have in the source, everything. The second step is promoted headers. So we promoted the headers. We haven't promoted, but Power BI has applied automatically. here the promoted all scalars is true because we haven't done this already. They have already they have headers in place, so it is just added this step. Next, by default, Power BI has checked all the data types. That is like one of the beautiful things that Power BI is, right? By default, it will check the data types and it will assign automatically, and it will check for the promoted test. In case if it is has, it will just record this as a true. Then we remove the rows. We got one more step here. Again, if you applied one more transformation, that will be there in this particular query. The query in the sense like mashup query. We use this for this transformations in previously developers they used to write the query to do the transformations. But now everything we got in UI, right? So no need to worry about the query.
Okay.
Let's say I just wanted to change this 10 to 50. So I can choose this one. That will remove the 50, top 50. If you're interested, even you can learn the query, but most of the people, they don't use query.
So I have a doubt. So after updating all the database changes, like is it saved like automatically or how we updated, how we saved, same thing we have to save it this file after changes happen.
So whatever the changes happened here, right?
Yeah.
It will be there only in your Power Query editor. If I go to Power BI desktop, I don't see the data here. So now you can see if you go to the data view, I don't see any data. Once you have done the changes, you need to click on close and apply. But if you want to save the changes in query editor, you can click on apply. That will apply all the transformations here. But if you want to load this data to Power BI desktop, the Zomato data is little that is the reason it is taking time to apply. You can see right now we have around 547 MB.
Okay.
So if you go to Kaggle, you will get all the real-time data sets. So even you can get the data in GBs as well. So now all the changes, whatever you have done, right, it got saved in Power Query Editor, but still you won't be able to see the data in your. Oh, we got this one. We haven't loaded, but you have to close and apply. That will load that Power BI data to Power BI desktop. So now here you can see all the data available.
Okay.
So then you can, based on this, you can create a report. So you can just show you the table utilization. So if you go to Zomato, I just need name of the restaurant and their address is in on the review list. Yeah. So once we got the data to Power BI desktop, then we will start working on Power BI report.
Okay.
So until then, the data will be in only Power Query Editor. So now we clicked on close and apply, right? So now we don't see the query editor window. Again, if you want to go to the Power Query Editor window, you can click on this transform data.
Okay.
That will open the query editor.
Got it.
Any other questions? Okay, no other questions, and we are good to close the call. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
ಎಲ್ಲ live.